So Mary and Joseph, who had already had one surprise visit from the shepherds, then innocently arrived at the temple and had another. An old man named Simeon was there waiting for them. And he asked to hold their baby, and then he burst into prophecy over their child, and the story continues. And Luke tells us that Mary and Joseph stood there awestruck over what was being said about their baby. And Simeon then blessed them and prophesied over Mary, saying, "A painful sword will one day pierce your inner being, for your child will be rejected by many in Israel. And the destiny of your child is this: he will be laid down as a miracle sign for the downfall and resurrection of many in Israel. Many will oppose this sign, but it will expose to all the innermost thoughts of their hearts before God." It's interesting, isn't it, that up till this point, all the key players in the story have celebrated Jesus' birth. And here, Simeon rather changes the tone. He momentarily cuts through the celebration, bringing into focus the stark reality that Mary is going to experience even greater cost in the future than she already has. And this always seemed a little out of kilter to me, like a out-of-key violin in an orchestra, in the midst of all the celebration, to mention such future pain. But now I'm beginning to realize that perhaps I'd understood it wrong. Perhaps it was actually a mercy to Mary and to us for the Father to make it clear that the cost would be great for the glorious prize. How does this impact me? Well, I like celebration. I mean, we all like the victory of the cross, don't we? But I don't like thinking about the cost. But there always is one. Jesus makes it so clear to us: pick up your cross and follow me. He couldn't have made it clearer that following him would involve cost, i.e., it would not always be easy. And so often it seems that we're sold a happy gospel that tells us, follow Jesus and your life will get better. And of course it will, because as we follow him, we will experience more joy and hope and peace than we ever could imagine. He will transform our lives for the better because he's good. And God promises to bless us. But there will always be a cost. And so often when we meet that cost, when prayers go unanswered, or when we are rejected or misunderstood, or when we land in a place we never expected to be, when everything seems to go wrong, when we feel the absence of the things we've given up, when there seems to be no glory, only trudge, we might be tempted then to think that God has abandoned us. And we might be tempted to be thrown into turmoil because this was not what we signed up for. At least that's how I can react. So I have to ask myself, why is there a cost? And of course, I don't know. That's a huge question. But in the context of this passage, I do know that Simeon is clear on this. The presence of Jesus will always expose the innermost thoughts of our hearts. He says, many will oppose this sign, i.e. Jesus' life, but it will expose to all the innermost thoughts of their hearts before God. And if you're anything like me, many of my innermost thoughts of my heart need refining. And in my experience, it's in the hard times that my innermost thoughts are truly exposed. And it's there that Jesus lovingly deals with them if I let him. So while I may desperately wish difficulties away, I always look back and I see the treasures he gave me in the darkness, in the midst of them. And I realize that the cost was worth it. So if today is tough for you, take heart. Fix your eyes on the prize and allow him to refine you to victory. Amen.